On today's wrestling news, an AEW and CM Punk lawsuit has been filed.
What now for The Rock and WrestleMania?
Miro makes his in-ring return.
And Dana Brooke on her toxic WWE relationship.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. So yes, let's talk about this lawsuit that everyone was talking about on social media over the weekend. It centers around AEW, CM Punk, and of course, the man behind it all, Ryan Nemeth, reporting from Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer on this over the weekend. Sean saying Ryan Nemeth filed a lawsuit on February 14th, Valentine's Day, in California against AEW, Tony Khan, and CM Punk. The complaint is for assault, breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and intentional interference with prospective advantage. Dave Meltzer backing this up, saying Ryan Nemeth filed suit in Los Angeles Superior Court against AEW and Phil Brooks. There's been a lot of talk about this. We spoke about it a while back.
Yeah.
There was loads of discussion about this online. I'll be honest, I don't really get it, but what do you make of all this?
Well, I mean, yeah, filing it on Valentine's Day. This is no Cupid stunt, even though he's talking about his stupid co-workers. The charges in a very serious nature that I've tried to lighten up with a bit of humour from Monday morning, because I feel nervous talking about this sort of stuff. It goes into some pretty serious stuff. Fightful had some brilliant information on this at the time when Ryan Nemeth was just opening up about the extent and this legal action was. What is it? A surprise if not a shock if not a surprise, because it was, you sense that this was forthcoming, but then often within wrestling and within like expensive processes you think they're just not going to follow through. Is the juice not going to be worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
But a number of I guess we can call them this now, accusations and allegations and the like were made by Ryan Nemeth about CM Punk's behaviour and things that were done that he felt were had a direct and negative impact on his career that were then overseen by Tony Khan as the boss of all this, and lack of information yet again being distilled out to talent about where they were supposed to be and when.
He was punished by AEW effectively.
And who exactly was pulling the strings behind those decisions, which is kind of what brings CM Punk back into this. There's been no Ryan Nemeth, for his part, has never kind of shied away from his open sort of public disdain for CM Punk. It's not something that he's been worried about, I guess, politically, you might say, for somebody with CM Punk's power and influence, either when he was in AEW or out of it. But we will see, I guess, how far this comes. And I guess what's interesting about this is, just to sort of for clarity for anybody that hasn't seen any of the conversation of the weekend, this is Nemeth versus Punk and AEW.
What a tag team.
So the fact that they're going to be on the same side in court is a very strange thing. It's not a nice thing to revisit, but obviously it was relevant to the collapse of the relationship between Punk and AEW. Punk and Cabana were on the same side of a courtroom long after they were no longer on the same side. As friends. So there's a lot of kind of like stuff in the weeds with this one, and I guess we will see over the next few weeks kind of how it develops. Or I never know legally how. As a guy that very nearly was a legal eagle, Wilbon, can you tell me what the next part of the arbitration process is around this?
Well, I'd love to get into it, but attorney-client privilege. I've been watching some Suits over the weekend just to really get up to speed on this sort of thing. And Meghan Markle's in it, which is a surprise.
Right?
That's what I took away from it, to be perfectly honest. My A-level in law maybe doesn't stretch this far, but I'll say we'll keep tabs on this, and court reporter Adam Wilborn's on the case.
Couldn't help noticing that you were talking total nonsense and filibuster in there, which brings me to The Rock on SmackDown on Friday's show.
Hang on. Carry on.
Yeah, there's going to be more of this discussion on the SmackDown podcast live on YouTube later on this afternoon, where we'll be going deep into that segment, indeed all of SmackDown and all of The Rock. But as you may have seen, Andrew Pollard covering it over the weekend, Phil and Gareth's weekend news, following up on the immediate aftermath of The Rock's promo. Stuff like this is going to bleed out for days and days and days. In the run-up to Elimination Chamber, such is the nature of the Great One himself, and that's why there's that face on your face.
The best.
But the latest little tidbit, I guess, and as it kind of relates to WrestleMania, for now at least, comes from the Wrestling Observer. Where does he get his information? Where he said that the writers were, quote, confused and thrown for a loop with The Rock appearing on SmackDown. They say it wasn't as last minute as has been talked about, but the belief is that obviously The Rock's schedule might have changed for WrestleMania compared to what he was saying back at the Netflix show in January. We did mention, with our little conspiratorial hats on Friday, that Cody, including The Rock in his tweet for what he was going to be doing in New Orleans, might have been something, might have been nothing. There was a little follow-up as well, and I guess this is the reality of The Rock throwing himself back into the mix and the kind of knock-on effect of what this can do to other matches, other mooted ideas. Meltzer also noted that AJ Styles versus Finn Balor no longer, or isn't being booked for WrestleMania 41 right now. He didn't say it no longer. That's me saying that because we talked about that as a speculated singles match last week. So that's not on the docket. Whether or not, yet again, plans are being subject to change with this WrestleMania, as has felt like the case pretty much since last November, with the various power players trying to move themselves into place and the kind of unpredictability of the chessboard and indeed the Rock himself. What's going on, mate?
I love
You're
it.
the OTJ.
It's funny because a lot of people were saying that Rock's not going to be involved in WrestleMania, and then
Mainly because The Rock was saying that.
was he just throwing you off the scent? Because
You were the only one that stayed 20 steps ahead with him, weren't you?
exactly, and I unsurprisingly absolutely love this. Absolute chaos going on right now, speculation all over the place as to what happens at Elimination Chamber. So I suppose it's done its job really, and then obviously onward to WrestleMania. Will you be my champion, Cody? I want your soul. I bloody love it, but I understand a lot of people got very head up about this over the weekend.
So we're gonna have
maybe I got 4 words for you if you don't like it. Let it play out. When have I ever let you down before?
We'll get nice and confrontational about this on the SmackDown podcast, on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast channel later on. But what he's done is kind of highlighted something that The Rock has indeed done, which has kind of made SmackDown unmissable between now and WrestleMania, isn't it? And you know where you can't miss SmackDown?
Where's that?
On the biggest and best screen in all of Las Vegas.
That's the HyperX Arena.
That is, and that's where we're doing our WhatCulture live show on WrestleMania weekend, April the 18th, Las Vegas at the HyperX Arena. It's going to be, deep breath, a live show with all the usual stuff that we do, the YouTube channel, Q&A panel, all that kind of stuff, the nonsense, the entrances, the whole deal. If you've been to one of our live shows before, you're going to get all that good stuff, in spite of the feedback we get, which is, what are you doing there? After that, we're going to go...
Let me be the tribal chief, for Christ's sake.
We're going to go straight into a live watch-along. There's ones we do here for the pay-per-views and the like. We're getting to do one with everybody in the building at the HyperX for the go-home edition of SmackDown. If those tickets are too expensive, we completely understand. So don't go along at the T-Mobile. Stay with us in the HyperX, the SmackDown watch-along. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be fun time. And then, after that, when that's finished, Simon Miller's going to do his ups and downs of that SmackDown for YouTube in the building, so you can get your faces on the video as well. Then we're going to do a WrestleMania 41 preview. It's the biggest and daftest and best and most ambitious live show ever, and we want you to be a part of it. WhatCultureStronger.com/tickets. And Wilborn, that's not the only show we're doing, really.
Oh no, and did someone say stage dive? We are hitting all the dates in the UK tour.
You keep saying stage dive.
Please buy tickets, someone needs to catch me. We are hitting Manchester, Belfast, Glasgow and London on the road to WrestleMania. Do join us for all of those dates as well. WhatCulture.com/tickets for that. It's going to be an amazing few weeks. I cannot wait.
You will have time to get to every WWE show. They're all pre-shows. It's all stuff to get people in the mood, get people hyped up. Endless opportunities for selfies, meet and greets, fantasy booking crack, all the good stuff that we love doing at the live show.
And then the thing is, you'll have had our show, you'll have had the WWE show if you decide to go to that one, but how do you finish it off? I'll tell you, Sweet Chin Disco, baby, the best wrestling club night that there is, the only wrestling club night that actually matters. And never mind The Rock, never mind these AEW lawsuits or whatever, the big news over the weekend was Sweet Chin Disco announcing, say his name, and he appears at a select number of shows over the tour with myself and Mark Henry. Yes, Joe Hendry is going to be joining us for our dates in Manchester, Nottingham and Glasgow. So do join us for those. If you want to join the shows with just the former World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry and me for a great night. We're also hitting Belfast, London and a special night in Birmingham. I'm coming home, baby, on the 29th of March at the O2 Institute. Very, very excited for that. If you want to get tickets for that, just head to dice.fm and search Sweet Chin Disco. All the details will be on there. You'll have seen all the clips on social media from the last time we did a Sweet Chin Disco, and it is so much fun to have Mark and Joe in attendance as well. It's going to be amazing. Join us for that. Dice.fm and whatculture.com/tickets. Now, back to the news.
Yes.
Miro back wrestling again for the first time since December 30th, 2023, when he worked Andrade, of course, at AEW World's End.
On his finger.
Yes, I remember.
My finger!
It's his first match in nearly 14 months. He worked the Qatar Pro Wrestling Super Slam 3 event in Doha, Qatar, facing AAA Mega Champion Alberto El Patron, the former Alberto Del Rio, of course. Also on that show with the likes of Mick Foley, Matt Cardona, Nick Nemeth, Mustafa Ali. Results not available, no spoilers, don't worry. It's going to be available to stream on Fight beginning March 2nd. Now, a load of speculation speculation, of course, about Miro. Very happy that he's back doing what he loves, wrestling, the former Rusev, I should say. You did a special podcast with Michael Sidgwick called Fumble or No Fumble about the AEW departures. Ricky Saints, as he's now known, of course, featured on that, and the former Alistair, now Malachi, maybe yet again to be Alistair Black.
Yeah.
But Miro was one of the big names on there. Load of speculation from Meltzer and the like saying he's heading back to WWE. I'd love to see it. What do you think?
I do want to see it, but I am unsure at the moment. I'll be very interested. I wish it wasn't Alberto Del Rio, but I'll be interested to see kind of off the back of this the next sort of moves that Miro makes. I wonder if there's other wrestling to be done before making that WWE return, rather than just shrouding him in any kind of mystery. I think I'd almost like to see him get back out there a little bit. Imagine him entering Bloodsport or something like that over WrestleMania weekend.
We talked about him in New Japan, didn't we?
Yeah. The Redeemer run. I'm a sucker, and I'm too loyal for my own good when it comes to wrestlers. If you have a run as good as the Redeemer run, you kind of got me for life.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, you've just bought yourself 10 years of goodwill from me, no matter what you do. The rest of his AEW run just did not stack up, and there was loads of discussion at the time about, who's this on? There's obviously a bit of a communication breakdown between performer and promotion.
Yeah.
He apparently didn't necessarily like some of the creative laid out for him, and then, was able to voice those concerns, and ultimately didn't use him as a result. It's just oddly, kind of an amicable feeling breakdown in communication. But it just didn't feel like it hit its potential, because the Redeemer felt like it was on this rocket to the top.
Yeah.
And because of that...
Losing upwards almost.
Yeah, from that, and if you think about something like Rusev Day, again, another situation where something that felt like it couldn't miss somehow did. That's twice now. That's twice that these things have happened to a Miro or a Rusev. So maybe third time's the charm. Maybe he comes back and this next run kind of brings all of that together, and you get Redeemer Day, where he's Rusev Day, with a smile on his face, but then that smile turns and he wants to kill you or something like that.
He's awesome. I love Miro.
There's monster matches to be had with the likes of Overfemi or Bron Breakker. There are things to do with Miro. Don't get me wrong, there are lots of matches. The other thing, and again, I think this is a conversation that is being had on lots of our What Culture Wrestling podcasts on the YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts at the moment, is just WWE not falling into the trap that AEW did when they've become the hot hand or the place that talents want to go. There's still an element of being judicious. How much talent do you need? How much? Look at WrestleMania right now.
Yeah, right now you don't need anyone else, do you?
So I'll be very interested to see, and I would certainly welcome his presence back, but I would quite like to track what else he can do elsewhere at the moment.
Yeah, I get the sense that maybe WWE and him could come to some sort of understanding where it's we really want you, just not right now, because it's so busy on the road to WrestleMania, and that card is stacked enough as it is. We've already got enough bloody predicted triple threats and what have you. He could be one of those ones that comes in a bit like Malachi Black. Malachi, for you feel, would probably be maybe a post-WrestleMania appearance. You could, the way the year works now for WWE is it's never not hot.
Yep.
So you could say, we'd love to have you maybe just after SummerSlam to give us that kickstart of, I don't know, maybe he has another match against John Cena before he retires, perhaps.
Indeed, another last one for Big Match John. Just want to note as well, I believe this Qatar card had a tag match that featured unlikely tag partners Minoru Suzuki and Enzo Amore. You want to hear a bit more about who he's been up to, check out the afternoon news, because we've got a little story on him later on. We'll end with another ex-WWE star who's, I guess, making towns elsewhere now. She's working with TNA. The former Dana Brooke, Ash by Elegance. It's been a couple of years, pretty much, and TNA's sort of been the new home that she's been able to make for herself in this gimmick. But she's spoken a little bit about her time with WWE. Not necessarily in the most flattering lights, but you can kind of understand where she's coming from. This was taken, this was from Fightful via her chat at the Full of Wrestling convention that happens here in the UK while she was over here. And she said, quote, "I will be completely open and honest, it was like a toxic relationship. Definitely a roller coaster ride, but I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for WWE. WWE gave me an amazing platform to interact with my fans, to get to know one another, and I'm real. My fans will know that I will try and reach out and just be super motivating. If it wasn't for WWE, I wouldn't have been able to do that. It was an eye-opening experience. I will say there was a women's evolution, Charlotte Flair, myself, Sasha Banks, Bayley, everybody in that era of NXT. Asuka, I was Asuka's first opponent when she came. I was on the first ever NXT takeover, first ever Evolution, first ever Women's Royal Rumble. She was, of course, also a regular on Monday Night Raw. I'm saying that, not her. So it's just been an amazing journey. But yeah, I think those probably will mirror the comments of a lot of people that maybe okay to acknowledge the scale of the platform that WWE's given them, but the ones that like, let's like call it what it is, ultimately enduring and surviving.
Yes.
The creative nadir of WWE did not look like a day at the park, did it? It didn't look like the nicest time.
Didn't look like always they were so happy to be heading into work. Look, the women's division in WWE is nowhere near fixed, but it is vastly improved from what she's talking about there, in my opinion. And look, she had some great moments within that. Former Money in the Bank winner, let's not forget.
She's right to highlight her place.
There wasn't the Money in the Bank briefcase. She got confused. It was one hanging up in the office.
No, that's right. It was, God, Stephanie, come on, Dana. I always think of Dana Brooke still. I'm going to do something close to what you hear, but not what you hear. So I'll be very careful as I do this. But when like her and Emma were just like messing around with being like bully heels on NXT, and she'd be like, like I know you're funny about getting your head, but the tap on the head made people feel like that.
Yeah.
It was like, she needs to get her ass kicked. And I thought she was very effective.
And she was great in like the 24/7 championship stuff as well. She had loads of fun with that.
Yeah.
So I wish her all the best, and it's always nice to see her doing well as she is in TNA. But always horrible to hear about what it used to be like.
Yeah. Somebody that seemed to benefit, I guess, from that was the aforementioned Enzo, and we got some stuff from him.
Oh boy, join us for the after news for that. He's everyone's taking shots from Enzo from the car park, apparently. More on that a little bit later, along with some more really interesting stories. Do join us for that one a little bit in a little while, but for now, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Get your tickets, as I said, whatculture.com/tickets and dice.fm for Sweet Chin Disco.
So I'm going to do whatculture.com/tickets. Ryan does that thing again where the little sparkly thing comes in. whatculture.com/tickets.
Ooh. In the meantime, whilst you're
hard enough doing this.
Yeah, whilst you're buying those tickets, why not watch this video as well? Boom. Give it a click.
Click it.
Go on.
Ticket.